It must be really odd for you being a cop and knowing your dad smokes weed. That's got to be a strange thing.
Is that illegal though? Is that illegal?
It's not thought well of at this point by some crowds.
It is alarming.
Yeah,
I understand.
You're a good cop though, and obviously a better son.
I understand.
Hi. Welcome back.
Welcome for another installment.
It is a background.
We're not the Backstreet Boys. We're the background noise.
Yeah. Hi, and I'm David.
I'm Justin.
So, we just wanted to clear up something about last episode when I was discussing the poltergeist that I saw early morning. I had gotten up and to get a protein snack, and
so to be clear, though, this was in the corner.
Yeah, it was in my dining room, and it just something caught. It was like something caught my eye, a glistening, really, and we described this last week. Got a lot of backlash because I wasn't ready to believe it was supernatural.
Understandably.
Poltergeist.
Well,
people were threatening to, stop watching. One guy threatened my life.
When you described the density in the corner, the density alone had me thinking,
Well, yeah, it was a very strange looking creature, and this, for those that missed the last episode, it was like a human being squished down to 8 inches tall, but wide, like 3-4 feet wide, and it was like one of those
kind of like SpongeBob.
Yeah, in a way, but instead of being he's like thin squished, it was top down. So his head was near his feet. Yeah, strange. Or a she, I don't know. But it was dressed like it had clothes on, like it just got out of the office, like he was just punched out for the day. Khakis, polo, belt.
I know we joked about the bolo tie, but I wouldn't be surprised if this entity had a bolo tie on.
I was a little. I didn't catch all the details. It was pretty freaky thing to see, and I didn't even get my protein snack. That aside, the thing about that really stood out was its eyes, because its face, instead of being like on its face, its eyes, nose, mouth were like on top of its head, and they were they were like cartoonish looking. The features, it was cartoonishly terrifying, and so. Yeah. People were questioning whether, how I couldn't believe this was some supernatural force. Like I said, one person threatened my life, saying that if I died, I could understand and come back as this supernatural poltergeist, so to speak. But
I understand their problems too with what we had chatted about, and we had chatted extensively. We had dealt with kind of positive, negative viewings on orbs. When you get bulbs and orbs and photos, and are those friendly? Are they, inviting, or are they demonic and inviting with a purpose to host or feed? And so I understand where Halavel Dad had messaged us about some of the problems he had with what we were talking about, and I'm not a paranormal expert by any means, by any stretch of the word means.
Yeah. Well, speaking of him, he was he had experiences like this, and they always called him crazy, thus the Hallandall part. But, that brings me to my point here is that I had been prescribed a sleep aid. And that night I had cut the edge with my normal... Huh?
You have?
Yeah, like I just took one, too, like a little bit ago. But
I didn't know that. Anyway, yeah, for continuity, jeez.
Well, right. And important points here. So I'm still not convinced it was poltergeist, and I did sleep really well after the fact. I mean, I took off downstairs into a closet. I don't really remember much what happened up there. After that, my family was still upstairs. Presumably they're okay. Welcome back. It's this week's edition of Factoids. And right here we have the factoid that we're going to present today. And Justin will do the presenting.
13% of all workers will show up to work with corn in the system.
Like their body?
Corn on the job. Yeah.
Oh, that's
wow.
Clever.
So 13% of all workers will show up to work with corn in their system.
That would have been true of me for the last
well,
week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been eating corn. You've seen it. And some people haven't seen me not eating corn. I've met a lot of new faces this week. Viewers.
We were at that wrestling event.
Other people's. Yeah.
We met a bunch of radio fans that we had never had the chance to see.
That was fun.
That was fun.
There was corn there. Those big turkey legs.
Yeah. It was festivilic.
They go together
nature.
Well. Fans, turkey, corn.
I'm going to say 13 seems low, and I'm not a corn eater. But if this is the stat, and I got to agree with it, I'm actually a little bit ashamed because I think of all of the cornfields across the United States of America, 13% have corn in the system. I'm having a tough time wrapping my mind around this.
Where's it going?
Well, I keep a bunch of corn nuts in the dash. You know how you put your soda in the dash of your car?
I've seen it.
I don't drink pop. I don't drink pop. But I scissor open a bag of corn nuts every other day. I dump them into the container that holds my soda, and I have corn nuts just while I'm driving.
Woo!
Yeah, I know.
Woo!
Sensitive teeth. I don't. Yeah,
I don't touch them. I like them, and it's one of those things. Like I like my teeth more. And I can't handle that crunch, but I can tell you what, I can handle corn on the cob. And I am one of those 13%. It surprises me, like you say, how come it's not 20%? We're in the corn belt. There's corn everywhere. I could step outside right now.
Grab a corn. Yeah, you could grab it'd be raw, but you could. You're right.
And didn't stop the locals.
Is it corn syrup?
It might, well, in me now, it might be a little bit, but, does that count? Is that part of this factoid, that 13%? Because then I would say it's through the roof.
Then we've got some research to do. Hey, welcome back. We're going to get into a real hairy area. All of us stay in hotels at some point in time, and you always have that continental breakfast from
Delicious.
6 a.m. until roughly 11 a.m. And I actually, when I plan on purchasing a room for the night, I start to look at reviews of how the continental breakfast is, because if it's good, I'll pay more for the room. If it's bad,
Yeah, when I plan a vacation trip, anything, one of the biggest parts of my vacation is where I'm staying, and that can be just as much the vacation as the destination.
Sure.
The morning breakfast, I look forward to it. I might even not even sleep that much that night.
Just for
because I'm getting up.
Yep.
For that, regardless of how much sleep I've had, for that continental breakfast. There's usually the little yogurts, the eggs, the dairy, and I try all of it. Some of them even let you make your own little waffle. They have that waffle maker. And, there are some things that you should do and you shouldn't do when you're getting a continental breakfast.
I would say the first don't is don't go down in your stained whitey tighties.
Big no-no.
That nobody wants the syrup drip around the back of your blip.
And the problem with that is I'm guilty of that.
I know, me too.
That's one of those things you find out the hard way.
I learned. I had actually gotten into the pool before it was open. It didn't have a suit with me, so
Try the door.
Yeah, well. I'm not going to get into that, but I swam,
you got away with it.
and I went to that continental breakfast, and a little kid tried to. I thought he was poking my rear, but here my underwear had filled with so much underwear it was weighing longer, and he was trying. He had a Cheeto.
Oh my god!
And it was like he was trying to get ranch out of, but it was my underwear high, and nope. So there's a big don't.
Don't do that.
Do's easily are do get there early.
Yeah,
the coffee's hot and fresh.
Sometimes they have like those little tables and chairs. Don't be one of those people that sits there. Get out of there. I want to go through there. I don't
grab it and go.
I don't want your prying eyes on me. I want to pick out my items in my own time and without being worried about being looked upon and judged.
It depends.
Get out.
It depends. If you're in a vacation hotspot, everybody's having a good time. To me, that's a social hour. There's a fraternity feel. And I like that. People don't feel great. They've had a little too much sauce. But if you're at a hotel near a hospital, grab and go. Because those guests are wondering life and death for family members, friends. Don't dawdle, at a hotel near a hospital. Get in, get out. Unless you've got a Hallmark account that you can just print grievance cards.
I have gone down for continental breakfast, 6 a.m. in a hotel next to a hospital. I like to say hospital because that's Spanish. I just like how it sounds. Hospital. And I would go down there, and that place, it's jam-packed, and it's uncomfortable, and it's like, they're there because someone's dying. And so sometimes I just go over to the hospital and go to their kitchen, and I pay for my meal.
Okay, yeah.
Because I don't want to deal with that. I'd rather, if I'm going to be around grieving people, I might as well go to the hospital.
Ins and outs of cafeteria food, I tell you, that's a whole nother plethora that I could get into, because I love me a good cafeteria. I do wish that they would turn the weather channel's volume up when you're in those continental breakfasts, just so you kind of know how it's going in the area, because usually they're on, if there is that small tube TV, it's usually on, but the milling, you can't pay attention. I need the auditory stimuli to really sink it in.
A little white noise helps. And, something about walking those hallways, too, in the hospital and in the hotel, at 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning.
Have you ever walked the hallways of hospice?
Oh, my gosh. You can smell it in the air. You can smell it.
Do they have coffee there?
You know, who you
Who's
trying
getting
to,
up?
Yeah. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
This next segment's about TV shows that haven't been made.
Yeah, so we were just talking about those shows where they eat, and they eat weird or hot or spicy or too much. And, you know, one spin-off, you know, that they haven't touched on is what happens to them 4 hours later.
Yeah. Competitive eating every 4th of July. That Japanese man usually wins that hot dog eating contest. And,
Lots of them.
And I like watching it. Hebrew National, he gets 50, 70, 80 of them down. But I wonder, at 4 p.m., what's that look like?
Yeah. Does he just hang around a bathroom for, you know, afterwards? Or is he...
You saw me eat that one yellow birthday cake. And I got carried away. But I was, within 45 minutes, I was laid up.
Yeah, I'm glad I was at my place.
Yeah, and I can only imagine what 80 hot dogs.
I don't have a very good bathroom. And
well,
was it as yellow going down as it was coming
up? I know, and that brings us to why we're talking about it. You know,
just like maybe a show specifically about the bathroom experience after these competitive eating.
Yes. And you know, I tell you what, you're going to have a little ghost pepper wing challenge. I can guarantee you.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be a little spitfire coming out the back end.
What do they call them? The rating of heat?
The Scoville.
Scoville. You know, I wonder if it still has that specific rating coming out of your butt as it is going in your mouth. Does it change? Does the Scoville rating change as your gastronomy?
That seems like a good factoid for a future episode. Because
somebody out there have an answer to that?
Yeah. Give us that info.
Yeah.
Because, the Scoville units, they have to be converted through the metabolism. When it goes through the gallbladder, that's got to change things.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, you might even lose a gallbladder from that. And, you know, I can attest to, you know, I think it might even get worse sometimes, because I know how I feel when I'm done in the bathroom. And it doesn't just hurt up here, if you know what I mean. You know, and another idea I was thinking about, you know, that Cito Gaston, you know, maybe a show about Cito Gaston's gastronomy. He was that coach, right?
George had Kinker stores.
North of the border. And, you know, he had a certain diet. You know, that's how they won it all those years.
He had a certain elegance and grace to him. I tell you what, a lot of people don't like the Montreal Expos, and they're a sorry franchise.
I don't want to know him.
But Cito Gaston.
He's a special character.
Really brought me back to the love of baseball, because that gentleman could manage a baseball game. There's nothing harder about baseball than managing.
A lot of what
players.
you don't get in watching the game is the details of managing, you know. And one of the things that you'll find out about him if you look hard enough is his gastronomy, and that was transferred into his players. They all had to, you know, follow these rules.
And you get into the brunches, the coaches' brunches.
Mm-hmm.
When you're on the road, it's a different story. You're at the mercy. But when you're at home, you can host a brunch.
Right.
You can host a brunch.
After practice, before practice.
Bacon, eggs, potatoes. You need carbs, so you have spaghettis.
There's a lot of spaghetti choices out there.
You've got to have Nunos. That's what my dad always called them, Nuno's.
Oh,
He
yeah.
couldn't pronounce that hard D. Nuno's.
Oh, man.
But yeah, that's a card.
Yeah, it takes me back. I
Cart.
forgot all about that. You know, the funny thing is he couldn't pronounce it, but he could sure make a good noodle.
There was that pasta bake. And it was weird because canned salmon's not everyone's game.
Yeah.
You pop that in with that primavera that he had, you wouldn't know that was canned salmon. And I tell you what, I found out after he had died, he actually, to really give it a little zing, he used one of those like 47-cent cat food cans. He put that in with it. And I know that's gross.
It's not.
But it added just enough.
People that say gross to that, this just means they haven't used it.
They've lived.
Yeah,
Let's talk about living.
Yeah, right. Right. You know, and he was the type of guy, your dad, Cito Gaston, they would, when they were on the road, you know, playing games, whatever, road tripping, they picked out their hotels and their living situations very carefully because they wanted that perfect continental breakfast. They never went near a hospital.
I'll tell you what. I don't mess with dry cereal, toast, and fruit.
That's
not a continental breakfast.
Absolutely not.
We need to have waffle press. Yes. We need to have granola bars.
Very good granola bars. Greek yogurts. None of that other yogurt stuff.
Dairy-wise, dairy is so dangerous.
It can be. You got to know yourself. You got to know your body when it comes to dairy. And, you know, one person that knew his body was Cito Gaston. And I think that would make for a good show. You know?
The Cito Gaston show.
Yeah.
The Cito Gaston show.
You know, a lot of people like Bill Murray, and I hate him.
That's surprising.
I hate him.
He voiced one of your favorite characters out of Toy Story. So
Garfield? I was surprised that they actually had Garfield in Toy Story, but he did do that. I do like Garfield. I'm not a Heathcliff fan, and that was the other idea we had for a show: Garfield and Heathcliff.
The grandpa that stole Christmas.
Yeah. Well, he had 2 cats. And, you know, when you have 2 cats and 1 Christmas, somebody's going to be missing out. They don't ride like that anymore. No, they don't. They don't ride like that anymore. Boy, that song, that takes me back, you know, and we did ride differently then. And I don't think that it's possible to get that back. And, you know, when we used to ride, it was a camaraderie. It was 10, 15, 20 people. Sometimes we had even more. And we'd go out and we would own that road. And that song, that takes me back to that time. And I'm a lot older now, and I've seen a lot of things. But I'd have to say that point in my life was probably peak me. And I would almost give anything. I almost if I could die right now to go back to then, I would. That song, and it just hits me right here in the chest. It's like a punch in the gut, and I can't even listen to it anymore. When it comes on, I'm just emotionally overwhelmed, and I have to just stop what I'm doing, or I need to shut off the radio. And it's too bad, because when you love something that much, you have to cut it out of your life. You know, it's like destroying the things you love.
It's a pizzeria classic, and I tell you what, Greg Ginn never wrote a better song. That was a song that I hold near and dear to my heart. there was a time when pizzerias really were an entertainment piece, and you would have balloons and pizza and soda, and that song would play, and I loved that song. Damn right, I'm like that anymore.
Hey, I get a lot of flack for being a conservative and having conservative values. A lot of people threaten me. They threaten my life. They tell me they wish I was dead. They think my ideas are... They call me dinosaur. They think these values are old, they're dead, they're fossilized. I've had people call me a promiscuous dinosaur. It doesn't make any sense. I'm a dino slut.